Yeah, Exo has really seemed to be able to kind of find their footing here. I mean, me and you talked about it after their first couple games. Hell, I believe we casted one of their first, like one of the games in their first four where they just did not look comfortable on anything. It seemed like they're still trying to gel a little bit as a team, but ever since then, they've started to become this team that I think a lot of people really expected them to be, especially with this roster they have here. I mean, you have AFC Design, Neptune, Anyon, Juice, Alex. You have Solse, Virtual and Pirate. I mean, this is a really good roster. They should not be having the struggles that they had, but I think it was a good thing for them to have those struggles because I think they've been able to become a lot better since then. However, Elemental Normal, we saw them play Wednesday. It was a rough loss for them. They lost 3-0, but still, we have seen this team multiple times this season already, and we know that they are a much better team than what their record says. Yes, they are 4-6 going into today, but that actually puts them right outside the playoffs here. Granted, most of the teams that are currently sitting in the playoffs are above 500, so a little work to do here for Elemental Normal and a lot of help from outside. But still, this Elemental Normal team has been really fun to watch here. And I think going up against Exo here is going to be a really good matchup for them because I think, much like a lot of the other games that we kind of talk about them being a litmus test for them, I think this is a litmus test for the rest of their season going up against a really good team in Exo. Mhm. Yeah, Yeah, a really rough thing, especially like we talked about. This team got some struggles very early on. And the granted, they're able to win at least one or two of those really tough games there, which is a good thing for them to be able to bounce back. I think it's star them on this kind of on this rebound up the standings right now. However, hey, map selection already picked it here. Not surprised, it's Lijiang Tower gonna be our first map of the night, and Elemental Normal immediately just wants to get rid of the Emre here, which is a very surprising ban, especially for Lijiang considering me and you, Hunter, have been seeing a lot of Pharah be banned out here as of late. But I mean, still, the Emre, even with some changes to their kit, changes to their stats, still very, very strong. Mhm. Mhm. I am 37, who's currently not in the starting lineup here, could change momentarily, though. I mean, we saw him play very, very good. And I believe the two maps they were showcased on Wednesday, we saw the Brad. And normally we talked about the Brad being a very much a Reaper specialist. Granted, they do have a little bit more of a bag than that, but the Reaper was kind of shut down very good on Wednesday there. Brubber, I think, is a big mainstay for this team. It's their tank. They are very good on that. They're very good on whatever tank they're playing here. So again, this Elemental Normal roster is a solid roster. I think they're just experiencing those troubles you have with a lot of teams who are coming into the Masters tier for the first time ever. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, if I remember correctly, going back to the Wednesday series with Elemental Normal, they did play Lucio a little bit, but it wasn't necessarily their go-to. I believe we saw him playing a lot of Wu Yang. We saw him playing a lot of Juno. Juno will probably see what would come out here from at least one of these teams. Wu Yang still definitely on the table. Brig is certainly there as well, especially for a map like Lijiang Tower. Brig can find a decent amount of value here. But I will say this, for these two teams and the only other game going on tonight, I understand there's a lot of stuff going on, but thank you to these two teams for having games, having their game stay tonight. I understand, like I said, a lot of the stuff probably is rescheduled since I believe a majority of, there's probably a good chunk of players that are down in Orlando right now who don't have access to PCs. But I mean, we talked about a lot here, Hunter, behind the scenes. We talked about a little bit on stream as well. These next 2 weeks, the final 2 weeks of play here for this Faceit League season, are going to be jam-packed with games because, my God, so many teams have rescheduled their games. And I mean, we're looking at here, I believe both of these games will put, I mean, EXO's going to play their 10th game here tonight. This is the 11th game for Elemental Normal, but you're still looking at some teams who haven't even touched double-digit games yet with 14 days left to go in the season coming up here. They are going to have a lot of games here. So these standings are going to get really insane here soon.
I will create pathways to victory. Make sure you follow them. Namaste. Hello there.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Round 1.
I mean, we saw this actually Wednesday, I believe, with Meow Academy playing the cat on this map as well against Elemental Normal. So Elemental Normal, they actually might be more set up for this compared to other teams. However, with that hot patch coming in, you see Exos coming out here on the Vendetta. Again, got some health, or got a little bit of an increase to their HP pool. So you're going to see a lot more teams kind of go back to the Zarya Vendetta comp right now, and Elemental Normal might be a really good option here for that. You either have to mirror it or you have to have your hit scan basically go play Widow at this point, or Ashe. Something that can really put Pyra into a spot where they just aren't comfortable. And however, unfortunately, IM37, I believe, is on the opposite side of the map from their, nope, they're actually just pushed up a little bit too far. They're going to be able to fall back here. But well, Pyra actually drops Juice there for a brief moment. Going to be able to pick him back up. But again, it's going to be really hard to get this, I'm just going to call it the attack helicopter out of the sky. Instead, though, you just see him going straight towards point. I think that might be the best thing for them. Yeah, but I mean, you're going to be able to find Onion right there. Still, though, that attack helicopter is in the sky right now. You need to be able to really get rid of that here for Elemental Normal. Give yourselves a little bit of breathing room here, as you already see him pumping a lot of damage in the rubber. Secures in the fight, but again, getting rid of Pirate would be huge. Catnap about to be online from them. They do get knocked down there by EXO, but it's actually be Pirate finding EXO there, and EXO, yeah, is a little bit confused by that, but this is going to allow EXO to come back in very, wow, I'm going to have to say EXO Oblivion to come back in very quickly. However, the Orbital Ray out now from Elemental Normal. Yeah, and I mean, you have Pirate with this catnap. However, I don't think they're really gonna use it until either Juice dies or Juice decides like to say, hey, drop me, see if you can get a kill here.
This ends now.
However, the overclock coming out now early from IM37. All they need is one pick here to open up a lot of doors for them. I believe they almost actually found Pirate there. They lose out on all the charge. Bravo falls out as well, but Pirates could be able to go back and get juice here. They have the artillery online here. Now you're looking at someone like probably, most likely Mayhem to be your touch as they are already lurking around. Exodal goes over to the far instead, and it's going to be really interesting to see how this far necessarily works here in these final moments. If
Disrupting. Score 1-0. Ready for battle.
banning out the cat, banning out the Bastion. However, that just leaves other options right there, like the Emre, like the Sojourn, like the Soldier. I mean, it's hard to be able to shut that down because you really are looking to your hit scan on the other side to be able to essentially one-shot Pirate here. I mean, IM37 on this Sojourn could definitely do that, but they need to be outside of an overclock, and they need to be able to build up that railgun pretty quickly here. However, though, you see Brother, though, go over to this Diva. I think that's going to be able to at least slow them down. It's going to be able to cause a little bit more problems in the sky. I think it could work out for them, but you need to have very coordinated plays with this now, because IM37 and Brother need to be on the same page when they're going to try to get rid of this attack helicopter. I was gonna say, that's one thing I've noticed with this. Even though this attack helicopter is working very well for them, Pirate's not afraid to drop Juice for a brief moment to go in and be very aggressive, and it's worked out for them here early on. However, when they do that, that has to be the moment that Elemental Normal really finds them out of the sky here. However, you're already down your DPS line. This is not looking good so far for them. I mean, they're about to have Rush, Juice is about to have another artillery online, and on the other side, Grubber really only has the bomb, but not very effective into, you know, two people flying around in the sky and someone who can provide bubbles. I mean, they'll get credit for that, but Brother's probably already looking for the swimming pool right there anyway. Mayhem, though, getting off the brig, now going over to this Wu Yang instead. Feels like definitely something where they want to try to get a little bit more pressure up on the skies. You already kind of see them throwing some orbs at them. Honestly, at this point, I feel like Ana would maybe be the better idea if you want to try to focus a little bit more on that cat in the sky here. However, you already see Elemental Normal going for White Room, but Juice and Pirate are already there. looking for the remake. Gonna be not able to find it right there as Onion finds them out right before they're able to get back into it. Exo now really need to play their life. Not gonna be able to stay alive here as well. So who is the touch now? Is IM37. A late swap over to the Cassidy maybe would have been a good idea at the start of the map, but at the end of the map, it's just a moment too late right here. And Pirate, I think you can say they were basically the player of this map right there. Gets the final 2 picks as Exoblivione honestly takes his first map very convincingly. And I believe Pirate, yeah, never died. 18 elims, 18 assists. I mean, again, just great plays coming out from this attack helicopter you talked about. Very hard to shut down. I think you were starting to see the right ideas come out from Element of Normal towards the end of that map, but I think it was just a little bit too late. The pressure that they were able to provide was just too much for Normal. My feeling is you're definitely going to see it. I think right now it's one of those kind of flash in the pan kind of competitions right now. We just have to see someone on the other side be able to shut it down. I think you're really looking at IM37. You're looking at that DPS line for Normal to be able to kind of shut it down. Because if you can get rid of Pyro out of Sky, well, guess what? It's just going to be the Bastion sitting there. It's just going to be Juice sitting there. Kind of a sitting duck, essentially. The Bastion, not necessarily the fastest hero. They don't have that self-heal anymore without perks. I guess I don't even remember that's still one of the perks. But they're a big target and they're an easy target to get rid of. However, flying in the sky like that, very hard to shut down. IM37, we've seen them in the past look very, very good playing Sojourn. They just struggled that map. I think the entirety of Normal struggled that map just because of the pressure coming out from that attack helicopter on the other side. And you saw it there. It allowed Solse, it allowed Onion, it allowed AST to really just be able to find so much value on their own with most of Normal maybe looking up at the sky a little bit too much here. But going into the next map here, it's going to be going to Rialto, and well, we're not going to be seeing the attack helicopter this time around as the cat is banned out, Hunter. It's not a bad pick. I think Diva is honestly a solid ban here. You could get rid of something like the Widow or the Ana. Those feel like very map-specific bans that me and you have been seeing a lot on this map in particular here as of late. You could get rid of something maybe like the Sojourn, force them off that, something like the Cassidy as well. Or really, I mean, you could get rid of Sigma, because I feel like me and you more recently have seen Sigma really take over this map at points to where once you get going on that Sigma, it's very, very hard to shut down. Even if the other team wins a fight, that Sigma is always just ready to go here. However, it's going to be the Zarya coming out here. They do not want to have that. It allows dive to be played here a little bit more, and it really gets away from that brawl kind of play style unless you're going to be focusing in on that Ramatra here, which is definitely a possibility.
I think Roger can come out pretty much anywhere, anytime. They're just that kind of character. It's not a whole lot you can do against it either. It's just a really solid all-around character. Not one that dominates the meta, thank God. But it's someone you do have to have a constant worry about coming out. But plenty to deal with it, thankfully, as we'll see momentarily what this scenario is going to be as we head into our next map. Rialto here, and Exoblivione going to be on the attack to get things started. We'll see how they want to go about things now that they don't have the AC-130 sitting by.
The AC-130 is parked for the brief moment here. See both these teams kind of leaning on Diva right now, which is not the biggest surprise. Same thing could be said, though, for Exoblivione. Coming out here with the Iari. Iari has, honestly, this is one of the Iari's maps. This, probably Circuit Royale, and there's one other map that's in the map pool right now that Iari definitely doesn't get some play on. I'm just forgetting. However, like I said, you could potentially have seen Widowmaker be banned out here. IM37 going to be playing that Widow from the start here, and you're looking at them to find some big plays early on, because just one pick from the Widow does so much for you, especially on this map, especially on this first point. If you stick on the Widow after this first point, I think you're only kind of hurting your team. But outside of that, no big changes here for either side. As I mean, without the Bastion, you just see Juice go probably to the tried and true Sojourn at the moment. Or like, oh, there you go. That's what I'm saying. One pick opens up so much for you here, and it really makes the other team have to respect that Widow play. And IM37, after a sluggish first map, reintroduced themselves to this series.
Yeah, another headshot. This is what we saw in that previous years before. Is IM37 making a big difference over on that Widowmaker and making everyone have to play those sidelines very carefully as a result. But Juice is going to immediately match it now instead. A very quick choice as AC Design thinks that taking the reset going to make this a little bit quicker as Solsei also swaps.
Yeah, again, they kind of see the composition that Elemental Normal's playing here. They want to be able to dive.
Wow.
Dive as a team, but where is IM37? Okay, I see where they are now. I mean, you're looking for a lot here right now. Solsei just going to give up on this Genji here really quickly. And again, like I said, IM37, this is a point in a map where a Widow could absolutely take over, and you're seeing it right now.
Yeah, it is difficult to say the least, and Juice already gives up on the concept. Honestly, can't blame you. Now they're going to push over towards this first corner at last here and try to keep forcing away some space right now. ASC Design going to be trying to force them back as far as they possibly can be. Eventually trying to take IM37 sights away, who, by the way, speaking of sights, they're online. Anyun's head is now gone. Juice eventually gets proper revenge right here. The question is it going to be enough to turn this one around? With Brubber in super deep, even if they win the fight, if Brubber's knocked out of mech, that would be devastating. Unfortunately, they will be.
I mean, they are pushing the card. And you do see everyone now, for Normal, get back to the card. You're going to be able to slow down, but you lose Mayhem. You're going to lose Mookie and probably Brubber here. So this is actually worst case scenario right now for Normal. Brubber though actually finds a pick, but Solsei going to be able to find them. And you're looking at IM37 and EXO to be the only ones to be able to kind of keep this point alive for them here. They need to be able to buy enough time for the team to get back. I think they're going to be just able to.
Oh, it is! Design peeks their head. When will they learn? Oh, God. IM37 is going to force everybody back once more. They know Anyun is up there. But right now, AC Design gets that mech back in places. Oh my god, what do you do?
Like I said, Hunter, this is a map where you could ban out Widow. It is a very good map-specific ban
oh
here.
Oh my god!
And I think IM37 is making Oblivione maybe regret just straight up banning out this. I forgot who they banned out.
Zarya.
Zarya.
Certainly, Pyro doesn't get their head taken off again. Juice nearly goes down. Oh, what?
It's Solsei, though.
That's okay. That's insane. All right, I need to click on anybody else at this point right now. Brubber's gonna go in that aggressiveness. Pirate is super deep in there. Eventually going to be cleared out right here. This has been incredible, to say the least, thus far, as Anyun barely gets out of there alive. As there's a big chase going around in the backline right there, as AZ-Sign has plenty of care going on back there. Mega health pack about to be available as well. Kitsune Rush is the big thing, though, ready here for Anyun. He's going to get forced back, unfortunately. Gets fully taken out. And AZ-Sign's also going to hit the remake, and is going to use the bomb, too?
Oh, I was going to say, that's a mistake there by ASC Design. They just need to hold on that bomb, because look at what's coming up here right now. I mean, Solsei used their pulse bomb as well, but you're going to have basically all 5 ultimates going to final fight territory right there for Oblivione. Now you don't have the remaking tool yet. Grant, you're going to have Kitsu, you're going to have Overclock, you're going to have Captain Sun, but you're going to be looking at Brubber to be able to eat that. That is one of the easiest ultimates for Brubber to eat as a diva. You're looking at either a D-Mech first, or you're hoping that Brubber is so far away from the fights they are not going to be able to even eat that Sun.
Yep, and IM37 is so far back right now, by the way, but already trying to find some heads to click right now. Everyone's getting forced back here. Captain Sun has to be thrown out here from, but her Pirate, but unfortunately, it will get eaten away. And now AC Design is caught way in the back. The support's trying to hang in there, but they're falling one at a time. Anyun Solsei trying to hang around, but unfortunately, it's not going to be enough. That is a full hold committed by Elemental Normal, and IM37 have themselves a day. They finished that one 11-2 right there. Wow.
IM37, clicker of heads, destroyer of worlds, apparently gets the Italian buff here on Rialto. I mean, dear God, Hunter. 11-2. I mean, Brubber went 15-1 as well that round, but a lot of that round could really just be come down to, yeah, IM37 killed one of us with a headshot, right, guys? Yeah. I mean, opened with the headshot, ended with the headshot. A good bookend right there for IM37 that round. Again, like I said, coming in this map, Widow is definitely a ban. You could see a very map-dependent ban, but it is definitely one of the maps where she definitely has a lot of value still, and you've seen a lot of teams use it. We've seen Widow and Ana be banned out here time after time after time again, because this is a map where those two heroes in specifically find so much value that they can really turn the tides of a round of the entire map, and IM37 definitely did that last round. Now, though, look over at Exoblivione here. Juice, we potentially saw the brief moment where they're going to try to match IM37. Well, defensive side now, they're going to play the Widow here a little bit better on the defense than the offense side. But again, if IM37 comes out, finds a one headshot, you're going to see this Elemental Normal team get very, very aggressive, as they really should. I like what Exo's doing here, though, on this Hanzo. One sonar dart out, going to be able to tell you where they are, and probably a play here for IM37 as well.
Well, no sight to be found, as you will see the swap go back, and Exo probably immediately going to go back over towards that Tracer, as they shall. But it's weird. They're going to give away this entire first corner, as IM37 is going to make their way over on the far right. And honestly, I like it a lot right here, as Juice wants to be able to match it. But to be fair, the moment something goes wrong, Dex, it could snowball very quickly from there.
Very quickly, you're at one fight territory right now, essentially, without everyone rushing there. But I think this is the right thing for Exoblivione to do here. You don't want to put yourself in the open. You want to put yourself in these tight corridors of this first turn here and just be able to take fights like that. Because look, they're already basically eliminating IM37 from this fight.
Yeah, Brummer knocked out of the mech. This one is nice, done, and dusted right here, as IM37 is still looking for a head, but I doubt anyone's going to peek this time around, as they'll back way out of there, as they'll take a big reset.
Yeah, and again, this is what Exoblivione wants here now. They want to have these fights where IM37 is not a factor in it. And there's going to be a point here where Elemental Normal is going to have to force IM37 to be a part of these fights. It might force out a swap here, but going over to the cast might not be the worst idea here if they need to get off this Widow.
Yeah, honestly, it's definitely still in you can pull it right now, as IM37 is being forced out of the fight momentarily. Okay,
missed the grapple.
More permanently, I should say. The Pirate's still getting a ton of pressure, is forced back as AM pokes on you into the water. And to be fair, this looks like a potential cleanup right there, but AST Design is on the run. But with this being the case, and Rubber out of the mech, they're just going to stall this out for a little bit. They are making slight progress, but Juice is going to finish things off right there. It's another fight won, and to be fair, jeez.
IM37, though, finding some value there, getting rid of AST Design, and I think AST Design is actually hoping that IM37 just takes their head off right now, unless they can build up enough charge here quickly. Granted, D.Va does rebuild up to mech pretty fast here, but if you're Brubber, I'm surprised you're not going straight after AST Design here.
Ooh, but that is a big pulse bomb to come out right there. Everyone's going to get forced back. You give big sidelines available right now, as AC Design will hit the remake in time, and now we are in true final fight territory right now. Casino Rush is going to be ready for on you much quicker than Mookie in this specific scenario right now, so we'll see how efficient that's getting used as Juice with sights on. IM37 is going to throw them right back in their face, though.
Yeah, but again, there's been a lot of just stall on this card here so far. Now you're getting into that golden box victory. Now both teams are going to have remakes available here, but Exo needs a touch.
And touch they shall, as everyone's going to get forced back right here. M37 gets another pick in right now, is getting some hard pressure as they are getting sent way back. But unfortunately, it's not enough to take them out of the fight, as we eventually see the fall over right there. But Juice is now the one trying to go a little bit wild right now, as got rid of two, gets rid of their third. Now a minute left, and this is now starting to get a little testy.
I'm surprised IM37 is actually sticking with this Widow here. I think a swap at this moment would be not the worst idea here. Ultimate's still online. You're going to have to cap the Sun for Exoblivione, but on the other side, you have a beat and you have a remake here for Brubber. That cart now is rolling away from the point here, so the chance the back cap kind of is all but gone here, but you need to find an early pick, and IM37 already kind of being harassed out here by Solse.
Yeah, so say will eventually get forced out in their own right, though. And now with 30 seconds remaining, we are definitely in that final fight area. But you have Captive Sun available here, but Mayhem does have that insta-fix right now, as IM37 is going to win the Widow 1v1. The much-needed one is Pulse Bomb going to be out ready for Exo. Solse going to throw theirs in on this one. Catches onto one, but they got to stay on the thing, but they will be cleared out, as Elemental will tie up this series. And, man, there's some clear bans in place for both these teams, I think, but what a performance from IM37.
I mean, yeah, this was IM37's map through and through, even though I believe this is Juice getting play of the game. No, wait, yep, not this IM37, never mind. But again, we talked about it coming in this map. I talked about it coming in this map, how strong Widow is on this map in general, and we saw from IM37, we saw from Juice there. But I just think the difference in just maps, or in how the two teams played. Again, you get rid of the chopper gunner there from Ex Oblivione. They're getting rid of the cat, so you can't play that cat Bastion. But the Widow, I mean, Widow is very specific. It would be a shock to see the Widow come back out here again, especially on the next map. Has Ex Oblivione has already decided where we're going to be going. It is Blizzard World. And yeah, it's a map you could see the Widow. So Ex Oblivione, they're getting rid of Thanos here right now, getting rid of the Widowmaker. But I think, again, that leaves open a lot of those other hit scans for IM37 to potentially play. But this is the map on Wednesday that we saw the Brad come in for, I believe, IM37.
Yeah, Brad came in, played a little bit of that Reaper. It had moments of efficiency. They almost got to the very end of Blizzard World, but they fell a fight short of taking that one away, unfortunately, of bringing it to extra rounds. But to be fair, they went up against a really game squad before, and to be fair, we'll see if they decide to go with that adjustment as well, because IM37 might be feeling super hot for that. Maybe you throw them over on the Sojourn or the Cassidy, and something can go really well for them there, but we'll just have to wait and see what the return ban is going to be from the normal squad, as, I mean, realistically, again, you can't ban the cat again. You can't get rid of the Bastion since the DPS ban is already in place. I mean, what do you have to do at that point? Like, what can you reasonably take away? Kiri?
I think Kiri. You get rid of Kiri or get rid of D.Va. I think those are your two options here. I mean, we've already seen it from Rubber. They have played D.Va, but they might end up preferring to play something like the Orisa on this map or something like the Zarya. We have seen that from them, especially on Wednesday. So you could get rid of the D.Va here, try to get rid of that dive. Yeah, Winston's still there, but I think that's solvable, especially if you expect with banning out the D.Va that Winston's going to be played. Well, you probably sub out Exo and bring in the Brad here for that Reaper play. Outside that, though, I think Kiri's a little bit of the better way to go here. It gets rid of a lot of that healing or a lot of this value that you've been getting from that, especially if you are thinking that Ex Oblivion is going to come back out with that chopper gunner kind of play style. So Kiri is, I think, a safe ban here, a good ban here. I think D.Va's a good ban. Outside of that, it's tough to say. You might get rid of something like Sigma here if you're concerned about Poke being played at all. But considering that we haven't seen it so far tonight, I think it's either the D.Va or the Kiri.
Yeah, and because, like, the bans can't be placed in ahead of time, or at least they're put in first before these swaps are made, you can't say, oh, the Brad's coming and we just ban Reaper. So you can't do a thing like that. You could do it anyway, but obviously they decided the Widowmaker is much more worth getting taken care of, and I agree 100% in this scenario. So we're just waiting on these lineups to finalize as of this moment here, as, yeah, IM37 is going to get taken out. As a matter of fact, the Brad's going to come in. I think this is going to be the same exact strategy that we saw in that previous match on Wednesday for Elemental Normal.
Yeah, and Zarya being banned out here. So Zarya being banned out the last two maps, not necessarily one I had on my radar for Elemental Normal to ban out. Like I said, I thought D.Va would have been the way they went here, as AST Design has been playing D.Va or Zarya throughout the entire night, but they played D.Va last map. It didn't necessarily work for them, but I don't think that was necessarily their fault. So Zarya being banned out here, again, I think both these teams are either going to go something towards the D.Va here again. We did see Wrecking Ball from Brubber on this map on Wednesday, but a very different situation for that one there. However, as we load in, yep, well, there's the D.Va, but at least for the moment here, Hunter, we're not seeing the cat and we're not seeing the Bastion, so that might have honestly just been a map-dependent kind of play coming out there from Ex Oblivione. You could definitely get it going here maybe on the second point where there's a little bit more space for you to be able to fly around and not necessarily a big choke point, essentially, for you have to go through initially. But I like what we're seeing here from both these teams. Pirate, though, sticking with the Iari is interesting. Again, the healing pylon is nice. The amount of poke damage that Pirate can provide here is solid as well. But knowing that the Brad's coming in, you have to know they are this Reaper expert here. We saw them struggle going into a D.Va on Wednesday on this same map. Is it going to be different this time around? We're going to have to figure that out very, very quickly. But they might also just have to forego staring at the D.Va and go in after this backline. Pirate only has that sunburst to get them away for a brief moment, and then you can really punish them.
Yeah, you really can, but you see right now, Brad currently play up close. They know the Reaper is there, though. They're going to immediately try to get in there and put on some pressure, but Soul say, eventually going to be forced to simply back out of that area because, to be fair, I don't want to have to be in a room with a Reaper, but the Brad is going to be forced to use a bunch of these cooldowns already to stay out of here because they're already getting forced out, and they don't get out in time, so now it's already a disadvantage big time here for Elemental Normal. I think the best thing they can do, honestly, is completely get out of here.
It looks like that's what they're trying to do. Mayhem barely keeping themselves alive here. Mookie also in a little bit of a rough spot right now. Does not have that TP to get them away, and Juice...
Your mic may have gone out temporarily there, my friend. I don't know if you cut out or you just stopped talking. We'll find out either way. But one thing we do know is that this fight is done and dusted very quickly. EXO is there for a momentary retouch, but momentary it shall be indeed, as they're going to be able to take this one extremely quickly. EXO trying to get some care, gets the health pack, and is going to be able to recover once more. As Dex, welcome back, my friend.
Yep, I am back. I think I have everything working, so the stream should be able to hear me. But it's just unfortunate because I think the Brad on this Reaper it is really much a linchpin to this entire composition that Elemental Normal is playing. If you lose the Brad first, you lose a lot of your probably frontline pressure that you have there to follow up with Rubber. So you need to be able to find ways to keep the Brad alive, but you can't just have him going after ASC Design. However, ASC Design is going to make it their sole move here to be just focusing in on them whenever they can.
Definitely so. And so tough because EXO's trying to do some, damage over here on the side, but they're basically getting 2v1. Juice will just turn at any moment, hit that flick, and you have to immediately get out. And to be fair, this is kind of honestly what we saw in the original thing, where their initial defense didn't start that well.
No, it didn't. It got a little bit better towards the end of the second point, but then kind of just fell apart there. Brad, though, getting off the Reaper, now going over to the Torb instead, as now it's time for Juice's time to shine here.
Yeah, got one so far, forcing everybody back. A poor turret has to fall in exchange, and Mayhem peaks, and it is not a good time for that, as Cinder Rush is available right here, but Brubber out of the mech. It's looking like they're going to surrender this one as well, as Brubber does eat the pulse bomb before going down, but it doesn't matter. 5.5 minutes going into third. This is a steamroll thus far for EXO.
This is just deja vu of Wednesday all over again. I feel like this is the exact same time that we saw the team that Elemental Normal played on Wednesday have going into this final point. Rubber now going over to the Ramatra instead. I think this is a little bit better, more sustained, especially as you're getting into an area where I think this Ramatra works a lot better. The Brad making another swap here, going over to the May instead. It feels like a lot of these, they're just kind of grasping at straws right now, but again, some of those straws might be able to really help you out here, and those ice walls might just be able to slow down ASC Design and someone like Juice.
We'll see what happens right now. I like Rubber making this connection over with their Ramatra instead. A lot more efficiency to work with right now, as Beat has to end up being used here to try to keep everybody alive. Rubber will be kept through with a little bit of help from that, as well as Pirate thinks this is very much still winnable, but a big cleanse is going to come through. Mayhem, the only one with the sun currently on him, as you see, backing way out. As for the first time, really, in the entire map so far, there's a quick moment of stabilization here for Elemental Normal that is disrupted very quickly.
Yeah, key word there was quick. I mean, a brief moment right there, and you already see AC Design going straight in. They're going to be able to get out with their lives here momentarily, but you need to keep this pressure up right now if you're Elemental Normal. You cannot give up much space, but you already see that Nemesis form coming out there from Rubber, so you expect to see a quick dive back in here from AC Design and most likely Soulset.
Yeah, and AC Design's in a rough area right now. It's going to be able to hang around in there. Rubber is just taking on water like crazy, though, and to be fair, this is what you want. Burn all these cooldowns away, and then a big push is going to come through, and that's one thing needed right then and there. Bomb going to get forced out right here, and all Rubber can do, honestly, is take this death over on the point as Juice goes down. Anybody in the freeze? The answer, unfortunately, is no. This freeze gets nobody, and unfortunately, it's a rough area where if they don't get back up quickly, this is going to be a lost fight for Elemental. Unfortunately, I think we're already trending that way.
I mean, you have Rubber. Rubber has both their supports right there. However, they're down. Mookie Mayhem might be able to speed Rubber out, but Rubber, I think, might have just wrote their own death certificate there.
Yeah, unfortunately so. Now 3:30 left over on the clock. Plenty available here for EXO. They have a very good cause right here to end this thing in the 3-minute mark.
Yeah, but you have ultimates coming online right now as well for Elemental Normal, so you're not necessarily out of it just yet, but you need to have someone get towards the cart. Overclock coming out here from Juice to try to get everything going. It's going to be responded to on the other side.
Yep, Juice, EXO both trying to find something of their own. No one finding a pick quite yet right here. EXO almost gets their head taken off right here. Rubber has to let this Annihilation loose. Needs to try to catch over an AST Design, as nobody going to get pulled down right here, as it's a massive heal for EXO. We're going to be able to hit the quick regroup and go in here with another Captive Sun.
Again, EXO will be showing their, just the amount of time they've been able to play here. They're backing up to really getting rid of all the ultimates there from the other side. You have Captive Sun, which is coming out right now.
Yeah, big cleanser out there. Captain Sun does not get anything. ACSI knocked out of mech though. Bomb going to be used, but Brubber is going to find the necessary pick. But Solsei more than happy to try to keep them alive in this one as Brubber needs care. It needs care now, but the sound barrier comes out. It's not in time, Dex.
You need to find a pick right now if you are Elemental Normal. You cannot allow EXO just to back out for free here. And you still have a couple of the members hanging around, but they're going to be able to regroup and come right back in. However, no ultimates online for them. The Brad does have a Blizzard online, but ASC Design, they can get rid of that very quickly, Hunter.
Yep. Brad can just hang around this corner right now. Big freeze to try to wall off, and Cleanse comes out, but still no escape available for ASC Design, who needs all the care in the world, will get demeched ultimately. So that puts a damper on the plans once again, and with 2 minutes left, finally some holds coming through from Elemental Normal right now, but they are going to be prepared for another Anyu Kitsune rush.
And the Brad now getting off the Diva here, going to match the Ramatra. I mean, my bad. ASC Design getting off the Diva here, going to go over to the Ramatra. Instead, Solsei also going over to the Pharah. No one on the other side to really deal with that far, unless you're talking about EXO and the Brad kind of looking up at the sky here. Granted, EXO is a good counter, but you need to be able to land those shots here pretty consistently. And look how far you're pushed up right now. These rockets that come out from Solsei are going to be just, I think, very, very scary to everyone on the side of Normal. Yeah,
Brubber close to Annihilation, but Brad gets hit with the direct, and now it's rough. You throw everybody in, Brubber has to let this Annihilation loose, and they'll get burnt away. And while Solsei is barely hanging on, it's going to be more than enough, as you're going to have to eventually send somebody out there for the touch. And the fortunate thing is, Brad might just have to wall to give them room to get in and then have to force one more touch. But they're not going to hit it too. They get pulled down, so they can't jump into it.
Honestly, they're like, again, that's exactly what we kind of saw from them on Wednesday. They struggled immensely on the first 2 points to really be able to slow down the attack team. Third point they locked in, but just gave it up at the end there. Granted, 65 seconds is a really good job considering I believe ExoBlivion only had, over 4.5, almost 5 minutes going into that final point push. Yeah. So you'll gladly take that. But right now, again, as I always say, when teams really much struggle in the first rounds on either of these hybrid or escort maps, don't look at the time bank here. You have one goal, and that's just complete the map. Doesn't matter how you do it. You just have to complete it here. And I think still that is very much possible here. I think Elemental Normal, they figured something out as that round was going on, but is it going to translate over to the other side here? That's going to be a different story here to tell, especially as the Brubber is showing us the Wrecking Ball coming out here, which again could very much work. It could, but you need to have a lot of communication, a lot of team synergy with that here. And not saying that that's something that Elemental Normal struggled with, but you need to have it going fast, or else that Wrecking Ball is only gonna be a little bit of a hindrance to you. On the other side, though, no big changes at all from ExoBlivion. Honestly, yeah, really nothing. You see them all go back to what they were playing the majority of last round here. ASC Design on that Diva, Pyro gets stick on the Yari. Am I seeing the attack helicopter from the other side?
They're thinking about it. Honestly, why not to start? Genuinely, why not? Because if it works, man, it gets you through a first point that I feel like generally should be difficult for Elemental Normal to get through, but they're gonna do it, Dex. Why not?
I think you just have too much. You have too many counters on the other side. You have too much poke. You have ASC Design. You have Juice. You have Pirate. I think Pirate on the CR is gonna be a big problem here to Mayhem and the Brad in the sky.
It could be, but all you need is that one pick to get you going, so we'll see if they can find anything in this scenario. As you see, Juice has their focus very solely on the Castion right now, forcing everybody back away right now, but big pressure being thrown in here from Brubber, and to keep bullying everybody around, that's going to give everyone the best shot, especially Brad, who's trying to force everybody around. But unfortunately, with bodies getting low, they did have to back momentarily to, to heal themselves back up.
I mean, you need to find fast picks in this competition here for Elemental Normal. You cannot allow this fight to last long because it's only playing into the hands of ExoBlivion here.
Yep, Moki close to having their head taken off right there, still hanging around right now, but nobody has gone down at this stage of the game. It's a little concerning thus far. The longer this goes on, the less chaotic it really is going to be, as Brubber is currently struggling to hang in there right now. And unfortunately, if they're not in the fight, there's no care for this backline. They'll get drained away. At the right side, you do manage to get rid of one, but that's not enough to turn this around, unfortunately.
It's not. Grand Mayhem and the Brad can get back here very, very quickly, so you could still try to get this going one more time. Still with one member down right now from ExoBlivion. However, you lose Exo, you're going to need this Bastion to find a lot of value here, but I just don't think this attack helicopter is working out for them like it did for ExoBlivion back on that first map. You're going to have to see some swaps come out here from the Brad and Mayhem here quickly, because Hunter, that time bank is almost halfway gone.
Yeah, I think you might consider getting rid of the ball after the mines as well, quite frankly. Actually, AC Design does get forced to use the bomb, so like it's something. You get it out of there, but unfortunately, it's still another reset.
And Brad and Mayhem going to stick with this one more time here. I mean, they're close to ultimate, so don't give them up. You got rid of AC Design's bomb, though. So if you can get rid of the mech here, that opens up a lot of possibilities here for Elemental Norm, but you need a big team play here. We haven't seen a team play yet from them. Granted, the Wrecking Ball is a very individual kind of solo kind of play tank, but you need the follow up there from EXO, who has his Pulse Bomb ready to go. Again, one pick is all you need here from Normal just to be able to open up some doors, open up some space as well.
Yeah, but you see everyone in right now. EXO has to back out of there, unfortunately. Now all 5 ultimates available here is Onion forced back. He's going to go down, and now the door is wide open here. Pirate, I think maybe lost out on the Captive Sun just now. So no Captive Sun, it's gone. Brad goes down to a Pulse Bomb, but I don't think that's enough to turn this fight, as Solsei's going to get forced back around, running for their life. It's not going to be enough, though, as this will head over to Elemental Norm with a bit of cleanup squad coming through, as Brad just going to wait for the close spawns to come into play, as it works, but it does take some time.
It took a lot of time, but look at them now. I mean, they didn't use a single ultimate, and they got 2 out from the other side. I mean, I think if you're Elemental Normal, that's the best case scenario you could have had there. And now you're going to have a lot of aggression coming out here as you have all these ultimates, and you could really use them early here to buy you some space and buy you a lot of momentum as you already see Brubber and EXO in that backline.
Yep, big dive over onto Juice. That's exactly what you need to do, but I like this. Solsei puts pressure over on the point. Make sure this thing does not get a whole lot of distance, or at least the least amount as possible, as, hey, you throw it out there, you're trying to get ASC Design out of that mech, but it looks like they shall be able to stay in very efficiently. But this is a lot more distance going through for the normal squad.
It's a lot of distance, but I mean, you have to really think about here. It should be a little bit more at this point here. I mean, you're allowing now Exoblivion to come back in with 3 ultimates online here. Same thing as you. This Catnap for Mayhem is not necessarily going to be used here for the longest time. Honestly, I just don't know if they use it at all.
Universe use on the inside, as you're to see everyone try to run out of there right now. Rough scenario, as plenty of space being made right now. Brubber again finds Anyun. Been really rough so far as Design out of the mech. Unfortunately, doesn't have the remech tool to deal with right now. It's plenty of efficiency right now. Juice is trying to find literally anyone to scope their rifle over onto right now. Unfortunately, finds no receipts. And now this thing is here ready to cap through second. As a matter of fact, it's going to.
It's going to. I mean, AC Design can throw their body on the cart, but I don't think it's necessarily going to be worth it. Solsei is there for a stall, buying AC some time to get there. They do have a bomb for a remake tool, and the Catnap's taking away the bomb!
That is what? And somehow the bomb doesn't get rid of AST Design, so they're still hanging around in here right now. Onion needs to go down now. That they shall. It's just hanging around over on the car right now with their AST Design knocked out of the mech. No remech available, and that's going to be 3:20 left on the clock. Cleanup coming through as well as Emre going to try to make it back to the spawn. Unfortunately, will not be able to do so.
Do we see the attack helicopter stay? It looks like the answer is yes here, at least for the moment. Going into this inside or into the castle kind of area right now, I think it's going to be a little more difficult for you to get the cat going, because there is the skybox that you actually do kind of run into here with the cat. I think Mayhem and the Brad were learning that right there. But still, just the pressure from this Bastion. We saw it on map 1 for Exoblivion, and now Elemental Normal is applying it right back to them and seeing how much of a problem it really is.
And genuinely so. But hey, that ball, guess what? Has those shields online. It's gonna be even more difficult to have to deal with, as Brad taken away once more, as mine's still available. ASC Design trying to hang about and continue to hold on to some of this space, but it's being taken away very efficiently to the point where all you can do is really force your way in, try to force as many cooldowns as possible, but someone's eventually going to have to find something to break through here, because Pirate's going to try to throw this in. It's going to explode the cat eventually, but it's not going to be enough.
It's not going to be enough here, and if you can find AC Design before they're able to get back into spawn, that would be huge, but you're in Final Fight territory right now, and
they have the swamp.
They find the D-Mech. That's huge, but Mayhem can get back here pretty quickly, and you look at Brubber, the Brad, they have ultimates online. I'm surprised they're not just throwing these at the spawn doors right now.
Well, this is a hard ultimate to use right now. It's going to get used, though, over on the point. You're going to try to force somebody out. You force everybody back. 2 meters left to go right here as mine's thrown about right now. They have to completely separate, though, as one connection for Juice. Needs to find another. Finds the second right now, but still alive as Catnap comes through. It's holding on to Diva, and it's going to try to drag AST Design away, and it will be enough for them to cap with more time.
I mean, I'm surprised.
I'm floored,
I'm
man.
shocked. Again, we talked about it a lot on Wednesday in the matchup with Elemental Normal, how they've been able to punch above their weight at times. Their record doesn't show that. They've really struggled in some matchups, and they looked good Wednesday. They just weren't ever able to get over the hump consistently. Tonight, there's a different story. They're getting over the hump. They're finding ways to win, and they're causing Exoblivione to, I think, kind of question what they're playing there. I mean, you didn't see many swaps from Exoblivione in that round. I don't blame them for it because, I mean, if you get rid of the attack helicopter, it opens up a lot there. Now, I mean, Exoblivione is just going to show us their own attack helicopter here, and looks like Elemental Normals is going to be keeping their same kind of play here. And if you're Elemental Normal, you want this to be the slowest fight you can possibly make it because you really only want to guarantee one fight. For Exoblivione, you're trying to make this as quick. You want to play as fast as you possibly can here. That's the big thing. And with Pirate going over to the Cat, you don't have that Lucio to really try to play fast. So you're going to be following a lot of ASC design, a lot of Solsei. Pirate and Juice are going to be really big here. The Brad and Mayhem are going to be really big here. It's honestly just going to come down to which one of these attack helicopters can shoot the other one out of the sky first. I really think that's going to be the difference here.
Well, I hate to tell you this one, Dex, but honestly, your guess, it is as good as mine right now. We have the double cash-in on display. This is not something I thought I'd be seeing in the big 2026, but hey, they found out what to do with the Cat, and apparently it's, you know, put a machine gun on the Cat, apparently. That was the answer, and that's what they're doing.
They're actually just straight up going out of here. The Brad gonna fall though. This is the worst case scenario now for Elemental Normal. You lose Mayhem as well. I mean, Hunter, this is all just gonna fall apart here very, very quickly for them.
Yeah, and now, I mean, Brubber can hang around, but Exo and Mookie, they need to run as far away from the fight as humanly possible so they can set up for more touches right now. But Brubber's still hanging around, but Brubber is down, so now I don't think you can retouch this point at all.
You can't, and I mean, again, the attack helicopter worked for you on the offensive round. The defensive side, though, it's a little bit tougher for them, and they're going to have to be able to shut it down here now. Okay, you do have one person on the card. If you're Exoblivione here, you're not going to do that here, but still, if you're Elemental Normal, you're going to try to take a quick fight here. Try to get them off this card. Try to make it as easy for you as you possibly can here. A minute 30 is good, but you can really not allow this card to push very much further.
No, you cannot. It becomes very dangerous. It's already kind of dangerous as it is right now in two-fight territory as, again, they're hanging around with each other. This is insane. And they're throwing at each other. And again, Brad is the one getting forced back, but will win the 1v1. Very importantly so, and now AC Design needs to be given all the pressure to force them off of this point as they try to force their way back on. They do so successfully, but Juice needs to be given some time to get back into this fight, but time is quickly becoming a non-factor as they can't retouch.
And again, I think that's best case scenario there for Elemental Normal, especially after giving up that first point, because you were really hoping that you're going to get one fight there on defense, win it, and not give up anything. Now the map's not drawable. You have to win this map now for them. That's gonna be the biggest thing. Do we see the attack helicopters come back out? I think at this point we know the answer is definitely gonna be yes here for both these teams. I think right now if you're Exoblivione, you feel like you probably have the better attack helicopter. But I mean, again, Brad finding out Juice was so big for them that last round. It really ended that round there for Exoblivione just on that. However, with the extra 30 seconds, you basically guarantee yourself at least one extra fight here for Elemental Normal, but that doesn't mean you can necessarily play slow. You still have to play very aggressively into this. You still have to play fast, which I don't know if that's necessarily going to be something that's good for them here. Right? We haven't necessarily seen them play fast. We've seen them play aggressive. Fast, though, is a little bit different from aggressive here. But mirror match here yet again, not a big surprise. I'm actually looking at the tracers here. You're looking at Exo and Solsei. You want to see them get rid of the opposing Kiriko on the other side here, because if you can just find a pick here, it does so much. As I always say, one pick opens up a lot of doors.
Yeah, it sure does, and it is needed big time. Remember, it took nearly 3 minutes for the finish to come through for this Elemental Normal squad, so getting that first blow really early on, it's honestly extremely necessary for them right now. That struggle from before is definitely going to affect them, and a team like EXO, I feel like they know what to do in a scenario like this to just repeat what they did before.
I'm almost kind of surprised we're not seeing Rubber come back out on the Wrecking Ball. I guess it took him a little bit too long last time to get the Wrecking Ball actually going. The Diva's just a little bit more of a stable kind of pick here early on. But I don't like this from Normal. They're going to use a lot of their time here just rotating around the map. So they'll almost get taken out here early on.
Yeah, had to force the recall as well as a bit of a rough scenario, because now EXO can play a little bit more freely, but the problem is they're going to move in with one another. The Diva's going to be used to try to help out their fellow counterparts. It's so crazy watching it happen in real time. but they're going to be forced away from the point right now, as they're going to have to go back in there and try to find something, because now, the way this time is draining, it's becoming a little rough, because they're forced back all the way on the inside, but somehow no one's made any progress on this point so far, by the way, which is crazy, as Brad's going to get forced back, is being burnt away, but is being protected at the same time. Juice falls over, and now you've lost both Bastions. What do you do?
Pirate, though, almost gets taken out here. This fight should have to be on point at Hunter. This is, I think, a bad scenario here for Elemental Normal. You could not allow that first fight to take as long as it possibly could there. Now, though, you're going to be able to get probably a second tick here for free, but Pirate's going to probably go back here now and get, actually, the Brad makes a swap over to the Soldier.
Yeah, they're going to make a swap back right now. Remember, you don't necessarily have to hand this over, but they're going to hold in on this right now. Casino around the corner here from Mookie. As you have to keep bodies up, but Mookie goes down. You're going to have the retouch available at the moment right now, as Bomb needs to be used over on point, as Brubber cannot afford to let this thing fall off a point. If you at least use it on point, maybe you set up a realm where you can use it to recover, but Brubber eats away the Pulse Bomb. He's going to get rid of the cat as well, but the problem is you got to make your way back, and you have to make your way back quickly right here, as Brubber is going to somehow get rid of a second. Bombs back onto the point. In somehow, some way, they're gonna hold on to this, and they're still alive with one fight to solve it all.
You need to get on this cart fast. You need to have 3 members on this cart. It's going to be very difficult now for the entirety of Ex Oblivione to get back out here, and you see all the members of Elemental Normal just kind of sitting there. This is an opportunity now just to play really fast. Juice, Pirate, and ASC Design, they all have ultimates they can throw out on the cart just to try to burn that overtime wick. You're trying to find an early pick right now if you're Elemental Normal, while Mookie and it's going to be Exo, the only 2 members with ultimates online. That Pulse Bomb could be huge here for them.
Yep, now they're going to start moving in right now. Remember, Juice is going to have the key to victory right now, as they're going to move in from above. AC attack helicopter inbound. Mookie trying to make a little bit of space right now. Juice is going to get forced back. Eventually, going to let go of the ult just to get some bodies in there. And it's looking like Brad cleans up one. Solsei trying to hang in there. Nothing left available right now, but still is managing to hang in there. Catnap comes through. Is going to catch over onto one right here. They're trying to hang around, and to be fair, they're doing a good job of it. The problem is the Exo, they're running out of resources. They're running out of them quickly, as Mayhem hanging in there, and Exo shut down, and it's Elemental moving up to match point.
Again, Hunter, we've been talking about this Elemental Normal team, one of the teams that we have covered the most throughout this season, being able to punch above their weight. And we came in this series talking about how Ex Oblivione had seen them really right a lot of their wrongs, get right back on track from the little bit of a sluggish start they had early on in the season. They've had some really good wins. Again, though, I think this is just showing you, even though the record for Elemental Normal might not be the best at the moment, this is a team you cannot necessarily sleep on here, as they are able to come out on top of this one here. And it's a lot of just great play. The attack helicopter came out for them. It worked very well. Ex Oblivione now has this next map ban here, and has next map pick and ban first here. You might honestly see them get rid of that attack helicopter here, just because they don't want to go up against it. Both these teams are struggling into it. I think both of them are figuring out ways to shut it down in the mirror, but individually, you saw it there. And Elemental Normal really gave a lot of problems there to Ex Oblivione when they ran that attack helicopter playstyle on their own offensive round there.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it was a great move, as, yeah, Bastion gone immediately. No hesitation. So the Bastion out of play, which means attack helicopter no longer existing. But now you think of what the ban back is going to be, and to be fair, the question is what you do, and the answer is, well, I should say the 2 answers ahead of you are keeping Brad in and going back down the Reaper route, which was not working at first. You had to make the swap to the Bastion, and then it started working. Or you throw back an IM-37 to have a little bit more of that play, but the Widow is available. It's not necessarily as good on Esperanza like it is on maps like Rialto. But the problem with it is that IM-37 has a lot of that flexibility there as well. If the Reaper just does not work for Brad, are we going to go back to forcing the Torbjorn if things get desperate?
I think you do have to bring back an IM-37 here. Like you said, Widow, not necessarily the best pick on this map, but Emre is there, Sojourn is there, Ashe is there, Hanzo's there, Cassidy is there. You have hit scans that you can play here. Yeah, they don't have the same bang that the Widowmaker does, especially with how good IM-37 played it back on Rialto, but I think it's just the right thing to do here, unless you really expect to see the dive come back out here. But you could just straight up ban out D.Va here. That's been something that both the teams played very heavily last round, and you could just say, like, hey, maybe maybe Elemental Normal is thinking, hey, the Ramatra worked very good for us. It seemed to cause problems to the other side. Get rid of the Diva, force out the Ramatra, but you still have Zarya on the other side. However, you see a lot of teams still really talk about Ramatra is still a good counter to the Zarya here. And it's actually going to be the Ahri coming out here, which again has been something that we have been seeing Exoblivione play exclusively the last 2 maps. It was a little bit more surprising last map, but still they were able to find some value with it, as that healing pylon just does so much for them.
Yeah, it does a ton for them. I like it, honestly. It's found a lot of inherent value. Pirate found a ton of value on it in the first half of this series, so I don't mind getting rid of it. Gets rid of a really efficient tool and probably forces them to play maybe a little bit more linear as well. Will that play into Elemental Normal's figure? Honestly, I think it kind of does. This is the kind of team that does play a little more on the linear side, but they're not afraid to get crazy, as you just saw over on Blizzard World. But we'll see what happens, as, like you said, I am 37 back in on this one. But as things stand right now, an Elemental Normal win would plunge North America into a little bit of chaos, wouldn't it?
It would plunge North America into chaos. You would still somehow come out on top of the Preds. I would be digging myself a hole under my all-time low.
Oh, that's right. I did pick normal for this, didn't I?
You were the only one who picked normal for this. You've already won one of those games this week.
Yeah. This would keep me ahead. Listen, hey,
you're already ahead no matter what. So just
True.
don't say that here. But
Hey.
going back to this one here, I think I am 37 coming back in. I think is the right thing. What we talked about, this is a little bit better of a map for hit scan. The Reaper, while it does find some value here, I think you saw it last map. I think you definitely saw it Wednesday as well. The Reaper struggled immensely. I think a lot of people are figuring out how to shut down the Brad and force him onto other heroes, which they're still very good at, but not as good as the Reaper. So I'm 37 coming back in to play the Sojourn. I think that's the right thing to do. We saw what they were able to do Wednesday with Soj, but that still leaves them open to play something like the Ashe, something like the Hanzo, something like the Cassie. I think Cassie would probably be the next thing they go to here. But really no big surprises coming out here. You're seeing Normal go right back over to that Zarya Vendetta comp they ran on the first point of Li Jiang. Granted, it didn't really work out well for them there, but they had to deal with the attack helicopter. They don't have to deal with the attack helicopter this time.
One thing you don't have to deal with, though, you have to deal with Vendetta Zarya. Feels like it's old as time at this point, but it's still alive, God forbid, as we'll see how well it works into this right now, because to be fair, if you're ASC designed, you have to play rather safe right now. You can be burnt away by the Zarya very easily, and Exo could do a really good job at pushing you in or out of fights as well. As we'll just have to wait and see, because with that little bit of extra health, honestly, it helps way more than I think people realize.
Yeah, and honestly, this comp that Exoblivione is playing into Normal's comp is very, very hard for them to kind of deal with. They have to look for that opening pick first, because you cannot have ASC design pressure out, because Brothers is going to be able to counter them no matter what. Exo as well is going to be able to kind of counter anything that ASC design is looking to do. Solsei is the only one who can really flank at the moment, as they are already, you see him in the backline. They just have to be a distraction, though. But that could be a distraction when they're dead.
Yeah, not quite how that one works right there. It's going to be forced back, and I love this. Immediately, Exo realizes, hey, we're down one, big player, no pressure to the back line. Get out immediately and just take a quick reset.
And again, we saw this a lot from Exoblivione in those first couple maps. Whenever they would lose someone early, just fall back. Don't lose anymore. Don't buy yourself, or don't buy time for Elemental Normal to get going here. But hey, you find Mayhem very quickly, as they're kind of just left out on their own. But now Ace Design somehow finds Exo. I thought maybe they were going to get taken out there by Brubber.
Yep, Solsei makes an immediate swap over onto the Sphara, and honestly, I love it immensely. They'll be able to find the wipe. Everyone is forced back out of the fight, as now someone's got to be able to focus on Solsei, and the question is, does Brubber have to force over and match the Diva just to help with the Pharah? The question right now is no.
I mean, IM37 has to now deal with both Solsei and most likely Juice. Exo's going to be focusing more on ASC design and probably Anyun here. But now it's going to be Exoblivione here, most likely getting the lead, as you're going to be looking for some sort of opening here for Normal, as already Continuous coming out from now. This Exoblivione team wants to play aggressively.
Yeah, that they're going to right now, but Cleanse will be thrown right back in. Lead is going to be lost away, but to be fair, I don't think they're too concerned at this time right now. They're just hoping to keep that pressure on, as they, again, it's a great call, because the moment they get one out, Exo realizes it's not really winnable, they just run back.
Yeah, quick fallback here, quick reset. You have the ultimates online, and Juice is immediately come back in with that overclock right now, looking to find some value early on, but they're not going to be able to.
Yeah, big cleanse for Onion, who's going to force everybody back once more. As Solsei try to stay out of the fight, as you should be able to see Lee probably go back over to Elemental Normal once more. But this is super important to fight, especially with a grab ready, and Neptune not quite to that sound barrier.
Actually not quite to the sound barrier, but Solsei with the barrage might just be enough to really slow down anything that the grab comes from, or it comes from the grab. However, AC Design, yeah, you could just eat the grab. You could realistically really eat the grab here. However, forward spawns, I mean, they could have been capped right there if EXO did not chase after AC Design.
Yeah, it could have been right now. AC Design is going to be forced back continuously right now. EXO going to move in close. Grab thrown out. Zoning grabs. Yeah, zoning grabs, they're pretty efficient. They get the job done sometimes. But hey, you still have a sound barrier going into this fight. But Solsei is now ready to let this one loose in the room, potentially. Lots of bodies hanging around in there, but somehow everybody still hanging around.
Grabs are the new Deadeye of 2026 here. You love to see it right now, but you look over at the other side here. This is not necessarily the worst case scenario for Exo Oblivion, as they're already investing one. The Sunring Blade out from the other side, though.
Oh,
okay.
That's crazy. ASP Design, unfortunately, are going to be subjected to dying on this cart, which, to be fair enough, stop some progress, but now things are becoming very efficient for the normal squad. Still some really good ultimates right now, so this next fight is super crucial here for EXO.
And again, the grab, I mean, even though it was a little bit of a dud, it's not really coming back to affect them just yet. However, losing EXO, not the best. So if you're Elemental Normal, you're pushing this ball as far up as you can and then backing out as quickly as you can.
Yep, and everyone is just getting straight out of dodge. And, I mean, Rubber getting out is really big. You keep all this massive charge available as... Mayhem going down, actually. I don't think Rubber can stay alive, actually. I'm being really honest. I think this one's cooked. And you're going to solo with it right there. Why not? And now everyone should just go and die over on this point. IM37 maybe gets out, but it's just not going to happen.
I mean, right now, if Exo Oblivion was pushing the cart or bot, I would at least say maybe that guarantees on these forward checkpoints. But you still see the majority of Elemental Normal dead and spawned now just respawning. They will have the Lucio to get them back a little bit quicker, but I don't think it's going to be enough in time to come out and contest unless you're just going to try to sacrifice someone. But ASC Design, Anya, and Juice could have their ultimates here online they're already online. So they're going to be able to play aggressively here. Mookie and IM37, though, could potentially throw something here. No contest. They're going to go with these forward spawns here right now. Just under halfway left to go, and oh, you lose the only ultimate you had.
Yeah, that's kind of rough that they let that go for free, and then they get taken out anyway. It's really weird. I rather would have maybe gone for that in that situation, but now Rubber's forced all the way out. I don't know if you can take this fight in a realistic way, as Juice is going to try to immediately jump in there, gets rid of one. IM37, though, gets their one as well. Juice is forced way back as Consider Rush going to be thrown out just to make sure you secure all this amazing space right now, as eventually everyone will be forced out of the fight. IM37 push back, but Consider Rush going to be used here. And again, EXO, who's been phenomenal about this the whole series, immediately gets out of dodge.
They have the lead. They have a 10-meter lead on top of that. Ace Design has been holding on this bomb for a while, but I mean, hey, they're choosing as a remake too. Grab comes out, finds the value this time around, though.
Yep, and again, this progress needs to come through over on this point right now, as everyone going to just die over on it right now. We'll see if anybody gets the forward spawns. As Solsei got out alive, as I think we see they all get them getting all that is devastating there for normal.
Especially because you don't really have any ultimates online right now for normal. Yeah, EXO and Mayhem could build up their ones pretty quickly, and AC Design, I mean, they know they have this bomb ready to go, and they know it's a remake tool, but outside that, Solsei and Neptune are the ones you're looking at right now. I mean, a clean fight or dry fight really does favor Elemental Normal here, just with the Zarya kind of composition, but again, you need to be able to shut down Solsei, because we've seen what they've already been able to do here.
Yeah, and EXO needs some care right here and right now. We'll eventually get it right now, as AC Design still has a bomb ready to go here. Almost had to use it, but biggest thing is the sound barrier available. But Solsei might have something to say as well. This is a really big, important fight. I've been saying that a lot lately, but it is just staying that way, as Mayhem, I think, maybe looking at a really aggressive push here in a second, as they're just waiting for the moment, going to move in. Sound barrier could not have been timed better right there, as EXO going to start moving in. Remember, a lot of people sitting low right now. AC Design going to try to hold over on to the point right now, as Mayhem gets forced out, will stay alive right now, as that Sundering Blade could be the tool they need, as somehow they've stayed in this fight. They still hold the lead.
You need to keep the pressure up right now if you're Elemental Normal. You have this slight kind of momentum on your side.
Ooh, this is so close right now. AC Design, though, goes down, bomb ends up getting nothing as a result, and it's now big cleanup time as while EXO falls over, lead will be taken away right here. Back in control of Elemental. This is like the 4th flip so far, and now this just got so much harder for EXO.
I think right now, if you're Elemental Normal, you don't back up. I think you continue in this fight. You're going to get forward spawns no matter what. I don't like this from them. You had a lot of momentum on your side. I just don't like the backup here. Trying to force stuff out early. I think they're only kind of playing right now into Oblivion's hands.
Yeah, and Brubber is just so far separated for the moment right now. Grab is ready, though, as you're going to see this big use coming through as Grab going to come through, going to catch on to just one with Onion right now, but to be fair, it could be all you need. AST design taken out of the mech, going to be burnt away into smithereens. Solse gets out of the fight alive for the time being, but no, it's the full wipe coming through, and Elemental might be one fight away from securing the upset.
Elemental Normal not listening to me is the reason why I'm in here and they're out there. And again, look at the swaps now. ASC Design going to match the Zarya here is a little bit too late. Solse going to match the Vendetta. It might be a little bit too late for them. 90 seconds left to go, and you're staring down the barrel of a 130 or a 33-meter lead.
Yeah, not the best scenario right now, but to be fair, they're going to back off really far here, which to be fair, I don't hate it. You know the second tuner is waiting for you with Onion, and you don't want to have to deal with it, but eventually it's going to get thrown out. Brubber is hard separated, still finds somebody anyway. I think eventually they should meet their hubris, but no, they get plenty of help, and I think they're going to clear out enough to be able to win another fight with just Onion hanging in there and all alone. No one there to help Onion.
Going to extend here right now for Elemental Normal, but they're going to probably quickly fall back without their Zarya here. This is one of those moments where, yeah, I'm going to say you fall back here, regroup like you did last time, which worked out very well for you. And look, you have ultimates online, while the other side, they don't really have anything. Hunter, this might be a moment where you're okay giving up a little bit of space here, knowing that the other side doesn't necessarily have anything to go just yet. But the question is, do they know that?
I don't know if they do, but they're going to find out really quickly right now as they're going to run all in on AST Design, but of all people, it's going to be Solse who goes down first, and Sound Barrier is still available. 20 seconds left over on the clock as AST Design has been bullied into this backline and takes themselves out in the process, but with 10 seconds remaining, they're going to push this thing up a little bit as it's going to be Desperation touches coming through for EXO.
I mean, Elemental Normal right now, we talked about how big of a series this was for them, keeping their playoff hopes alive. Southern Blade coming out from Mexico, going to be able to find Neptune. They might be able to complete the map to cap off this series, and they do just that. Probably the upset of the night here. Granted, there's only 2 games, but the upset of the night here for Elemental Normal. Like I said, Hunter, throughout this entire broadcast, this team has been able to punch above their weight this entire season. Yeah, the record doesn't show it. And you can go back and look at some of their previous games where, yeah, maybe some of them were 3-0s, 3-0 sweeps. But again, I believe, if I remember correctly, they played 3 or 4 Map 5 series already this season. So their record could be a lot different here. 5 and 6, but yeah, you look at this. 3 Map 5 series. And all against teams currently sitting in the top 5, I believe. Meow Academy, Amplify, and Vivacity. My bad, not Meow Academy. Amplify, Extinction Zero, and Vivacity. You flip all 3 of those wins around, Hunter, you're talking about Elemental Normal being in the top 5 here in the standings at the moment. This is a good team. They just have had tough, heartbreaking losses, but victories here tonight, especially against teams like Oblivion, who in these past couple weeks have really improved and shown us the type of team they are being able to beat. I'm now going to look at who they've been able to beat here as of lately. They swept Meow Academy. They beat Team Z. I mean, they've been able to beat some really, really good teams here. But they lose here tonight to Elemental Normal. And I think, again, it says more about Elemental Normal than it says about Oblivion here, who does have honestly a very favorable schedule in their final 5 games. They have Vivacity, Iliad Artemis, JBFC, or the Fallen Destiny, or I believe that was, Kintsugi and Hive Mind. So realistically, Hunter, that could be 4, maybe 5 wins. They could complete the rest of the regular season on a 5-game winning streak. But I think, again, right now, we've talked about here, the kind of hit or miss start to the season for Oblivion might end up coming back to haunt them here towards the end of the season if they aren't able to pick up wins over teams like Vivacity, who, I mean, we've looked at their past couple games. They have been tough, heartbreaking losses, but they've all been in 5 maps against really, really good teams.
Yeah, it's been a struggle so far, but Elemental has always kept themselves in most of these games, and that's important. But still, it's going to be really important going forward to pick up a couple more big wins. They have a game still against like Interesting Pivot and the former Fallen Destiny as well, and some tough games still like Kintsugi and Team Z. So job is not done yet for them, but this is a big win for them to push momentum on their side and get them a little extra something to work with here. Because again, while there's generally a cutoff we probably have in our mind somewhere, nothing's going to be solidified until we really get things narrowed down with the last couple of weeks. But it's crazy. It's big from them to pull that one off right there. And listen, I say this with no favoritism whatsoever. I just felt it. I just felt it in the air when I made that pick, Dex. I just felt it somewhere.
I am digging a crawl space under my all-time low, man.
Mr. Walter White over here.
But again, I mean, here's the thing. The unfortunate part is because of all these map 5 losses that Elemental Normal has had, the most realistic way and probably the safest way for them to be able to have the best shot at playoffs would be to finish out the season on a win streak. However, you said Kintsugi and Team Z still on their lineup here, or still part of their schedule. Very, very tough games. But again, this team has been able to punch above its weight class here this entire season, and I'm not going to count them out of either of those 2 games.
No, I would never either. It's phenomenal on their part, to be fair, because this has been you could make it like a whole like giant circle. Like I don't remember what movie or show it's from, but you know the thing where like the guy's like pointing at like it's better if I just find the meme for you. But it's where the guy has like all like the post-it notes and everything is pushed in. He's like conspiracy theorying himself.
You're talking about Always Sunny, dude.
Yeah, it is Always Sunny. You're right.
I don't
totally
even watch that show, but I know where
I just couldn't think of it. But like that right there, you could create that. But with this division right here, because you have had everything under the sun. I mean, to be fair, it was already crazy. But when we woke up one day and what was it? Iliad Artemis had beaten the Fallen in map 5. That's when I accepted, okay, we are just in complete chaos. Whatever happens from here on out, it's just gravy on the potatoes.
Yeah, like the biggest thing is there's gonna be a lot of chaos here. We talked about coming into the stream here tonight. There's a lot of teams that have to play more than 5, 6, maybe even 7 games in the next 2 weeks. So there's gonna be a lot of movement, a lot of shuffling around in the standings because some of these top teams are gonna be going up against each other here. And you need a lot of favorable results right now, especially if you're Element Normal, as you already have 6 losses. And we normally talk about that cutoff point the cutoff point for wins for playoffs being around 8 and most likely 9, which means that if you're Elemental Normal, you cannot really afford to lose another game here. But I will say this, Elemental Normal at least locks himself in, I think, definitely with this win here tonight, into Masters next season. But again, this team has impressed me so much. It's going to be... it's gonna make me kind of sad if they don't make playoffs, but still they are building something here, which is something I'm really, really happy to see.
I am too. And no matter what, we're going to be seeing this team in next season of a Master Tier, no matter what happens from here on out. So it will be exciting to see them stick around and see what more they can do. But obviously, they're trying to get to those playoffs and get themselves that fighting chance. We'll see if they can do it down the line. But for the time being, that is going to close out our night. And it's been one heck of a one. This was a big battle. Absolutely loved it. But so there's a couple more weeks to go in the regular season to decide who our top 8 teams are going to be here in North America. It'll be fantastic to see. Before I get off, I'm going to check one final score as I hear many sounds going on. I should probably check and see what's popping over there. But we reached the follower goal, 650. Let's go. That's massive. Let's go.
Nice.
But I will go ahead and say right now, they're still, is it ongoing or do they change?
No, Kintsugi beat Element Garden 3-0.
Okay. That was part of what I figured already. That makes sense to me.
Apparently that game ended 2 minutes after this one.
Really? How did it go that long?
Maybe connection problems.
Yeah, there's a real reality. Can't seem to find the result of the game that I'm looking for, so it doesn't matter too heavily to me unless it's just genuinely missing. No. Oh, Garfield did get that win technically. We'll talk about it after stream, but chaos in South America still going on, everybody. But hey, we're headed out of here for the night.
South America. Chaos in North America. There's probably chaos going on in EMEA
as
well at this point. I mean, this season of Faceit League has been chaos. It's going to be really chaotic over the next 2 weeks, which you will not want to miss.
No, will not whatsoever. Be there for it for 100% certainty. So everybody have yourselves a good rest of your weekend. We'll see you next week for some more Faceit League action. Take care, everybody.